Commander Jake Sullivan walked slowly around the observation deck of the UES Horizon, a human exploration ship far from Earth. The large window showed countless stars, some burning bright while others slowly died. But something was wrong. Sullivan had been watching space for 15 years and he had never seen stars behave like this. "Look at that," muttered Walsh, the ship's science officer. She pointed at the view screen. "The stars in Sector 7-8 are blinking, not like normal supernovas or stellar cycles. This is different." Sullivan moved closer to the main console. His experienced eyes narrowed as he studied the data flowing across multiple screens. Green numbers, red warnings, and blue tracking indicators painted a confusing picture that somehow made terrible sense. "Walsh, how long have you been tracking this?" Sullivan asked, his voice steady but tense. "3 weeks, sir." The patterns started, small, but they're growing and spreading. Claire Morgan, the ship's tactical officer, joined them. Her face was pale as she read the latest sensor reports. Morgan had fought in the border wars between human colonies. She knew what preparation for battle looked like even on a cosmic scale. "These energy signatures," Morgan said slowly, "they're not from any technology we know. They're massive, sir, and they're moving in formation." Sullivan called up the star maps. The ship's AI, nicknamed Atlas by the crew, processed the raw data and created visual representations. What appeared on the main screen made the entire bridge crew fall silent. Hundreds of red dots moved across the map. Each dot represented an energy source larger than Earth's sun. They traveled through the dark space between stars, not following normal gravitational patterns. Instead, they moved with purpose like a fleet of ships heading to war. "Atlas, show us their projected path," Sullivan commanded. The AI responded in its calm voice. "Computing trajectory. Please wait." The screen changed. A blue line appeared, tracking from the depths of space toward the center of the Milky Way galaxy. The line passed through numerous star systems, many of which hosted intelligent life according to Galactic Council records. "Time to reach Council space?" Morgan asked, though she feared the answer. "At current speed, 18 Earth months," Atlas replied. "Time to reach human space, approximately 30 months. Sullivan felt cold despite the ship's controlled environment. He remembered the old Earth legends about monsters that ate the sun, about dragons that swallowed light itself. Those were just stories meant to scare children. But now, looking at the data, he wondered if those ancient tales were warnings from some forgotten species that had once faced this same threat. "Walsh, expand sensor range. Maximum power. I want to know everything about these things." For the next 12 hours, the Horizon's sensors worked overtime. They collected data on radiation patterns, gravitational fluctuations, and energy emissions. Walsh compiled everything into a detailed report while the bridge crew rotated shifts, no one wanting to rest while these mysterious objects moved closer. When Walsh finally presented her findings, the crew gathered around the main holographic display. What they saw challenged everything they knew about space travel and life itself. "These aren't machines," Walsh explained, pointing at the three-dimensional images. "They're organic, living beings, but on a scale we never imagined possible. Each one measures between 10 and 20 kilometers in diameter." Morgan studied the rotating images. "Those appendages, they look like feeding structures, like the tube feet of an Earth starfish, but enormous." "Exactly," Walsh continued, "and look at what they do." She played a recorded simulation. The hologram showed one of the creatures approaching a star. Massive tentacle-like structures extended from its body surrounding the star. Then, impossibly, the creature began to feed. "It's consuming stellar matter," Sullivan whispered. "The star's mass is being absorbed." "Not just the star, sir," Walsh added grimly. "The planets, too. Everything in the system becomes food for these beings. That's why the stars are blinking. They're being eaten." The bridge fell silent again. But then anger replaced fear in Sullivan's mind. 3 years ago, human deep space probes had detected unusual energy patterns. Earth scientists had developed theories about extragalactic predators. They had tried to warn the Galactic Council, the organization of advanced alien species that governed interstellar relations. The council had laughed. They called humans paranoid. They said humans were too young to understand the true nature of the cosmos. They claimed it was impossible for any life form to eat stars. "Open a direct channel to Earth Command," Sullivan ordered. "Maximum priority, full encryption." "Channel open, sir," confirmed the communications officer. "This is Commander Sullivan of the UES Horizon. We have confirmed hostile extragalactic entities approaching Milky Way space. The objects match our 3-year-old threat projections exactly. Massive biological ships, we're calling them devourers, are consuming stars and planets. Time to council space, 18 months. Time to human space, 30 months. I repeat, we have confirmed extragalactic hostile contact." He paused, thinking about the alien leaders who had dismissed their warnings. "Recommend immediate protocols. Alert all human colonies. Accelerate defensive preparations, and contact the Galactic Council. Show them our sensor data, our trajectory predictions, and our evidence. Make them understand this time. Make them listen." The crew prepared the data packages while Sullivan continued watching the approaching threat. In the depths of space, the devourers moved steadily forward. Stars continued to blink and die. And somewhere in the heart of Galactic Council space, beings in comfortable meeting rooms discussed trade agreements and border disputes, unaware that their time to act was already running out. "Sir?" Morgan asked quietly. "What if they don't? Listen again?" Sullivan didn't turn from the window. "Then we warn them anyway. We share everything we know, and then we prepare to defend ourselves, and anyone else who will stand with us." The UES Horizon maintained its position, gathering more data on humanity's newest and most terrible enemies. Every sensor reading, every calculation confirmed their worst fears. The devourers were coming, and they hungered for entire worlds. "Morgan," Sullivan said firmly. "I want battle simulations, I want countermeasures, I want solutions. If the Council won't help us, we'll help ourselves. And when the time comes, we'll be ready." Outside the ship, stars died in silence. The cosmic hunt had begun, and humanity had become both witness and prey. But this time, the prey had time to prepare. This time, humanity would not die quietly in the cosmic dark. The great council chamber buzzed with countless voices. Representatives from 200 species filled the massive amphitheater, each speaking in their native language while universal translators made sense of the chaos. Ambassador Peter Mitchell stood at the center, surrounded by holographic displays that showed humanity's evidence. Mitchell was an experienced diplomat. He had negotiated mining rights with the warlike Vrex. He had prevented trade conflicts between peaceful Zanari merchants and aggressive Earth corporations. But nothing in his career had prepared him for this moment. "Honorable delegates," Mitchell began, his voice carrying through the chamber's perfect acoustics, "I stand before you not as ambassador of Earth, but as a voice warning our entire galaxy of destruction." Behind him, a massive hologram appeared. Stars disappeared one by one, eaten by shadow-like shapes. The image showed the devourers consuming an entire system, leaving only cosmic dust. "These recordings come from our ship, the UES Horizon. They show beings we call devourers, massive biological entities that consume stellar matter. They are heading toward the Milky Way." The chamber erupted with sounds human translators couldn't properly convert. The Krillian delegation, spider-like, beings with crystal blue exoskeletons, chittered loudly. Their leader stepped forward, 8 legs clicking on the polished floor. "Ambassador Mitchell," the Krillian spoke in a voice like breaking glass. "Your species sees threats where none exist. Your sensors are primitive tools compared to our technology." Mitchell remained calm. "Dr. Kate Hayes, our xenobiologist, has prepared detailed analysis." "Dr. Hayes?" Kate Hayes stepped forward. She had spent 3 months examining every byte of data from the horizon. Dark circles under her eyes showed the endless hours of work. She expanded the hologram to show cellular-level images. "These beings are unlike anything in our databases," Hayes explained. "They're composed of what we call dark matter flesh, tissue that exists partially outside normal spacetime. This allows them to survive in the void between galaxies and digest stellar matter. A Vornak representative, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline shell, floated upward. Your primitive understanding misinterprets natural phenomena. We, the Vornak, have studied dark matter for millennia. Such life is impossible. With respect, Hayes continued, we found evidence of previous attacks, ancient ruins on dead worlds, all sharing the same destructive pattern. Civilizations far older than the Galactic Council, wiped clean from existence. She displayed ruins photographed by automated probes, massive structures that had defied time, only to be reduced to rubble by an unknown force. In each site, the same warning appeared in hieroglyphics, symbols of great creatures eating suns. The Thix delegate, a floating brain-like being with tentacles, pulsed with bioluminescent skepticism. Coincidental architectural collapse. Our psychic archives contain no memory of such beings. If they existed, we would know. Mitchell felt frustration building. Humans had been part of the Council for only 20 years. Every advance they made was called beginner's luck. Every warning was dismissed as primitive paranoia. Let me show you the latest data, Mitchell said, expanding another hologram. This is real-time tracking of the Devourers. They move with purpose, information. They avoid populated systems for now, feeding on uninhabited stars to grow stronger. The hologram showed red warning indicators spreading across the galaxy map. Each indicator marked a star system under threat. The pattern moved steadily toward Council space and Earth. Chancellor Brix of the Zanari Empire, a massive creature resembling an armored bear, stood up. His species had been part of the Council for 5,000 years. Young Mitchell, we appreciate your enthusiasm. But in our long history, we have faced real threats. Solar storms, rogue planets, even dark matter anomalies. This is not new. It is new, Mitchell protested. We need to prepare defenses, evacuate vulnerable systems, coordinate a galaxy-wide response. Laughter echoed through the chamber. Different species expressed amusement in various ways. The Krillians' chittering grew louder. The Vornak's energy shells flickered with mirth, and humanoid species shook their heads. Always the same with new members, the Thix pulsed. Join the Council, then try to remake it with fear and haste. We have protocols, procedures. Science must be reviewed. There's no time for reviews, Hayes interrupted, breaking diplomatic protocol. By the time your committees meet and review and debate, the Devourers will be consuming your core worlds. Security drones moved toward Hayes, their weapons prepared to stun. Mitchell quickly pulled her back. Dr. Hayes speaks from passion. For preservation, Mitchell apologized. We only ask that you examine our evidence with open minds. Council leader Maximus, an ancient being whose species was among the first to achieve space travel, raised a hand for silence. His reptilian face showed disappointment. We have witnessed many doomsday predictions from young species. The Zanari once warned of cosmic whales that would swallow the galaxy. The Vornak claimed energy vampires lurked in black holes. The Krillians feared living planets that would consume our worlds. He paused, letting his words sink in. None of these threats materialized. The galaxy continued. The cosmos remained stable. We suggest humanity focus on real problems. Poverty on your colony worlds, the recent piracy in Sector 9, the upcoming trade agreements with the Outer Federation. Mitchell opened his mouth to protest, but Maximus continued. Your petition for emergency protocols is noted. It will be reviewed by the Threat Assessment Committee. They will schedule a preliminary review in 6 months, with a full evaluation in 1 year. Until then, this session is adjourned. The massive gavel struck, echoing through the chamber. Delegates filed out, many speaking in hushed tones about human dramatics and newcomers' paranoia. Hayes turned to Mitchell, tears of frustration in her eyes. 6 months for review? 1 year for evaluation? The Devourers will be here in 18 months. I know, Mitchell whispered. I know. They gathered their displays and data chips. As they left the chamber, a few species showed sympathy. The Terek delegate, a peaceful race of insectoids, touched Mitchell's shoulder with a delicate claw. Some of us heard, the Terek said softly. We may not have power in the Council, but we will prepare our worlds. Thank you for the warning. It was a small comfort, but comfort nonetheless. Walking through the Council station's polished corridors, Hayes asked, "What do we do now?" Mitchell thought carefully before answering. "We send everything back to Earth. Every piece of data, every scan, every projection. If the Council won't help, we'll protect ourselves. And the other species? We'll keep warning them. We'll share our defensive plans with anyone who listens. We'll prove the threat is real through our actions, since our words aren't enough." In his quarters that night, Mitchell sent an encrypted message to Earth Command. "Council dismisses threat. Proceed with independent preparation. We'll continue diplomatic efforts but expect no Council support for 18 months. Recommendation: begin immediate military buildup and civilian evacuation protocol development." Meanwhile, deep in space, the UES Horizon continued tracking the approaching devourers. Every sensor reading confirmed humanity's worst fears. The Loire first wave consisted of 10,000 entities with more behind. Each creature had consumed at least 5 solar systems in their journey across the void. The Council slept peacefully, confident in their long history and accumulated wisdom. Human colonies began modified work schedules, building defense platforms and emergency shelters. Some called it paranoia, others called it prudent preparation. Time would soon show which was correct. The devourers cared nothing for debates or dismissals. They cared only for consumption, and the galaxy was about to become their dinner table. Earth's moon now hosted the largest military construction project in human history. General Marcus Cole stood in the low-gravity control center, watching giant machines assemble ships faster than ever before. Red warning lights bathed everything, in urgency. "Report, Colonel Bennett," Cole commanded. Chief Engineer Lisa Bennett pulled up construction timelines on the main screen. "We're ahead of schedule, sir. The Douglas drive conversions are running at 120% efficiency. Every ship from mining freighters to luxury cruisers is being fitted with FTL capability and basic weapons." Cole nodded, satisfied. In the background, massive robotic arms moved ship components with precise movements. Sparks flew as welders worked around the clock. Human determination filled every corner of the facility. "How many ships combat ready?" Cole asked. 42 capital ships, over 300 defense frigates, and counting. The civilian transport conversion is proceeding. We're also building evacuation shelters on 5 colony worlds. Captain Ryan Parker entered the control room. Still adjusting to lunar gravity, Parker commanded the UES Defender, humanity's newest warship designed specifically to fight the Devourers. "General, we've tested the quantum torpedoes," Parker reported. "The early results are promising, but we need more time for proper calibration." "And what? Much time?" Cole demanded. 6 months minimum, sir. The quantum field generators are unstable. One miscalculation, and we risk creating miniature black holes next to our own ships," Cole cursed under his breath. "We don't have 6 months. The Devourers could arrive early if they find rich feeding grounds. You get 3 months, Parker. Make them work." Parker saluted and left to return to his ship. Through the control room windows, they could see the Defender hanging in lunar orbit. Its hull bristled with experimental weapons, quantum torpedo tubes, plasma cannons, and missile arrays. The ship looked like it was built for war because it was. "Major Stevens," Cole called to his aide. "Status on colonial preparations?" "Major." David Stevens checked his tablet. "Colonial Governor Wilson reports Mars is fortifying its underground cities. The asteroid belt miners are creating defensive positions in the rock clusters. Jupiter's orbital stations are being equipped with early warning sensors. And communication with other species? Mixed response, sir. The Terrac have opened military collaboration. They're sharing their shield technology. The Haxnor traders are quietly moving their valuable ships to the edge of civilized space. Most others remain silent, but we're detecting increased military activity in their systems." Cole stared at the star map. Red warnings showed the Devourer's projected path. Blue markers indicated human positions. Green showed species willing to cooperate, though the green was sparse. "They're starting to believe us," Cole muttered. "Fear makes believers of everyone." Jennifer Hayes, Dr. Kate Hayes' sister and leading physicist on the defense project, entered with new data. General, I have updates on our weapon systems. The modified antimatter warheads are ready. They won't destroy the Devourers, but they'll hurt them. That's something, Cole replied. What about the neural disruptor research? That's where things get interesting, Jennifer said, excitement in her voice despite the grim situation. We analyzed the Devourer tissue samples our probes collected. They have a decentralized nervous system, like an octopus but spread across their entire body. Traditional weapons attack single points. We need area effect weapons. She displayed a simulation. Multiple weapons hit a Devourer from different angles, disrupting its neural network. If we can hit them with enough neural disruptors simultaneously, we can paralyze them. Not kill them, mind you, but freeze them in space long, enough for other weapons to work. How close are we to deployment? 2 months for prototype, 4 for mass production. Cole made his decision. You get whatever resources you need. Personnel, materials, facilities. This weapon could save us all. Across human space, military training intensified. Children practiced evacuation drills alongside fire drills in schools. Civilians learned basic ship operations in case they needed to evacuate suddenly. The media showed defense construction progress daily, maintaining calm while preparing for the worst. In the depths of the Pacific Ocean, construction teams worked on Project Deep Shelter. Massive underwater caverns were being converted into survival bunkers. Each could hold 10,000 people for 5 years. If the surface became uninhabitable, humanity would survive in Earth's oceans. Lieutenant Sarah West commanded the UES Guardian, a modified hospital ship serving as Earth's emergency medical response vessel. Her job was to plan evacuation protocols and medical support for potential refugees. The psychological impact will be massive, West told her medical team. Not just physical trauma from attacks, but the mental stress of seeing your son destroyed, your home consumed. We need to prepare for post-traumatic treatment on a scale never seen before. Her teams practiced with refugees from natural disasters, learning how to manage chaos and fear. Every lesson would be valuable when the real crisis arrived. In secret laboratories, scientists worked on plans that sounded like science fiction. Time dilation fields to slow down the Devourers, dimensional weapons to punch them into other realities, genetic viruses to disrupt their biology. Nothing was considered too experimental or too radical. 60 days until projected Devourer arrival at our sensor range, an AI announced through the facility's speakers. The countdown had begun. Parker pushed his crew hard aboard the Defender. They ran combat simulations daily, fighting holographic Devourers in various scenarios. Each simulation taught new lessons about energy consumption, weapon effectiveness, and ship positioning. Remember, Parker told his crew after one simulation, these things don't fight like ships. They don't have weapons or shields as we understand them. Their entire body is a weapon. They consume matter directly. Our job is to hit them hard and fast before they can react. His second-in-command, Commander Lisa Patel, studied the simulation data. Their feeding tendrils are slow but powerful. If we can stay at maximum range and use hit-and-run tactics, we might have a chance. Might isn't good enough, Parker responded. We need certainty. These creatures can't reach Earth. Not all humans shared the military's determination. Some called for immediate evacuation of the entire planet. Peace activists claimed preparing for war would make the Devourers more aggressive. Religious groups debated whether this was divine punishment or a test of faith. Governor Rebecca Turner of Mars Colony addressed these concerns publicly. We prepare not because we want war, but because we want peace. Peace requires the strength to defend what we love. Every ship we build, every weapon we test, every shelter we create, these are not acts of aggression. They are acts of love for our species and our future. Her words resonated across human settlements. Construction continued at breakneck speed. Deep in space, robotic observation posts tracked the Devourers' progress. Each day brought new data about their feeding patterns, movement speed, and group behavior. What scared human analysts most was their organization. These weren't mindless predators. They moved with purpose and strategy. They're learning. said one analyst to Cole during a briefing. Earlier recordings show random feeding patterns. Now they're selecting stars methodically, choosing paths that give maximum energy gain with minimum travel distance. Are they learning from us watching them? Cole asked. Possibly. Or they've encountered other spacefaring civilizations before and adapted to being observed. Cole looked at the war room walls, covered with charts and calculations. Human ingenuity faced an ancient, cosmic threat. Win or lose, they would meet it prepared. Status of civilian evacuation ships? He asked Stevens. Ready for departure on 1 month's notice. Each can carry 50,000 people. Course plotted for the Andromeda Galaxy if the worst happens. Cole nodded grimly. If all else failed, humanity would survive somewhere else. But he had no intention of abandoning Earth without a fight. The preparations continued. Weapons were built, soldiers trained, scientists worked, and everyone, from generals to children, prepared for what might be their last battle as a species. The Devourers were coming, but they would not find humanity unprepared. The first distress signal crackled with static and terror. Captain Rachel Kim stood frozen on the bridge of UES Sentinel as the transmission played through the ship's speakers. This is Nexus Prime. Help us. They're here. Oh gods, the sun is being eaten. The signal died in a scream of cosmic static. Kim's crew stared at her, fear written on every face. For 18 months they had prepared for this moment, but hearing it happen made it real in a way simulations never could. Helm, set course for Nexus Prime. Maximum speed, Kim ordered, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Communications, alert Earth Command and the nearest council station. Tell them it's begun. The Sentinel dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Nexus system. What they found defied understanding. Where a thriving colony world had existed, only barren rock remained. The planet's oceans had vanished, the atmosphere was gone. Even the mountains looked stripped down to naked stone. Sensors detecting no life signs, reported Chief Science Officer Wang. Not even bacteria. The planet has been cleaned of organic matter down to molecular level. The star? Kim asked, already knowing the answer. Diminished by 17% mass. Still burning, but dying faster than it should be. The horror grew when they found the abandoned space stations, not destroyed by weapons, but carefully dismantled, every useful material consumed. Only debris, fields remained, picked clean like bones after a feast. Lieutenant James Morrison pulled up the station's log before its final hour. Security cameras showed massive tendrils reaching from dark space, wrapping around the structure. Workers fled in escape pods, but the tendrils followed, consuming ships and people alike. The footage ended with tentacles covering the camera lens. Get that data back to Earth, Kim commanded. Everyone needs to see what we're facing. But the Devourers moved faster than predicted. Reports flooded in from across the galaxy. The Yalis system vanished overnight. The Horak mining colonies went silent. The Vemtar agricultural worlds stopped responding to hails. In the Great Council chamber, emergency sirens wailed for the first time in 5,000 years. Ambassador John Walsh stood among panicking delegates, humanity's warnings now undeniable fact. The Vornak homeworld is evacuating, shouted their representative, his energy shell flickering wildly. The Devourers are 6 light-years away and approaching. The Krillian delegation chittered in blind panic. Our fleet is mobilizing, but we have no weapons for this enemy. How do we fight what eats stars? Walsh stepped forward, his voice carrying through the chaos. Humanity offers assistance. We have weapon designs, defensive strategies, and refuge on our worlds. We warned you, but we will still help you. Chancellor Brix of the Zanari Empire, formerly dismissive, now pleaded. What do you need, Ambassador Walsh? Resources? Technology? We were wrong to doubt you. Time is what we all need, Walsh replied. And cooperation. Share your shield technologies, your engineering capabilities, your scientists. Every species has something to contribute. Working together is our only chance. The Thix delegate, usually skeptical of everything, pulsed with urgency. We were wrong about your species. Your warning saved lives. Tell us how to fight these things. Walsh pulled up holographic displays showing human weapon systems. These are quantum torpedoes designed to disrupt their neural networks. These are plasma beam weapons calibrated for organic tissue. And these are evacuation protocols your people can use. The transformation was complete. Species that had mocked human warnings now begged for human aid. Some accepted pride in exchange for survival. Others still struggled with the reality that youngest spacefaring species had been right all along. Meanwhile, the UES Defender arrived at the scene of the latest attack. Captain Ryan Parker ordered his crew to battle stations as they found something unexpected: a wounded devourer. "It's injured but alive," reported sensor operator Chen. "Some species put up a real fight before being consumed." "Energy weapons or physical damage?" Parker asked. "Neither, sir. It looks like disease? Some kind of virus or infection. Parts of its body are decaying." Parker made a quick decision. "Weapons ready. Science team, prepare to collect samples. If something can hurt these creatures, we need to understand it." The Defender approached cautiously. The wounded devourer was massive, 20 kilometers across, but clearly struggling. Its feeding tentacles moved weakly, parts of its hull-like skin showing signs of rot. "Detecting high levels of radiation," warned Chief Medical Officer Lisa Ord. "Unknown energy signatures. Shield up. Fire sample collection probes." Small drones launched from the Defender, gathering pieces of the diseased flesh. The devourer barely reacted, too sick to care about these tiny annoyances. "Captain," called out Engineer Roberts, "I'm detecting strange energy readings from the decaying sections. It's almost like the disease is consuming the dark matter that makes up its body." Could this be a weakness? Parker wondered aloud. A viral infection that targets their unique biology? Suddenly, new contacts appeared on sensors. More devourers, dozens of them, converging on their injured companion. The Sentinel's crew watched in amazed horror as the healthy creatures began feeding on their sick kin. "They're cannibalizing it," whispered Navigator Gomez, "consuming their own to prevent infection spread." "Fall back," Parker ordered immediately. "We got what we came for. Get those samples to Earth immediately." The Defender retreated as the devourers finished consuming their infected member. This behavior revealed something humans hadn't expected. The devourers weren't invincible. They feared something enough to destroy their own kind. At Earth's secret research lab Alpha, scientists analyzed the samples with growing excitement. Dr. Jennifer Hayes led the team examining the viral infection. "It's not a virus in any traditional sense," she explained to General Cole. "It's an energy-based organism that feeds on dark matter. It essentially turns the devourer's unique biology against them." "Can we weaponize it?" Cole asked directly. "Theoretically, yes. But creating enough to affect the devourer swarm would require enormous energy resources, and there's a risk. If we're not careful, this infection could consume dark matter indiscriminately, potentially destabilizing local space. What's the alternative? Let them consume the galaxy? I need 3 weeks to run safety protocols and—" "You have 1 week," Cole interrupted. "Start human trials immediately on any volunteers. We're out of time for caution." Across human space, the call went out for volunteers. Scientists, soldiers, and civilians lined up to test experimental defenses. Some treatments failed spectacularly. Others showed promise. Human sacrifice and ingenuity merged in desperate innovation. The Zanari Empire contacted Earth with an offering, their best quantum physicists and engineers. The Vornak, swallowing their pride, shared their energy weapon designs. Even the Thicks opened their psychic archives, searching for memories of how ancient civilizations might have fought similar threats. Species that had fought each other for centuries now worked side by side. The Galactic Council transformed from a political body to a military alliance. Meeting rooms became war rooms. Trade agreements became resource-sharing pacts. "How many have we lost?" Admiral Patricia Gordon asked at the daily briefing. 17 systems completely devoured. 247 worlds evacuated. Refugee ships arriving at Earth daily, reported her aide. Gordon studied the star map. Red zones marked consumed regions. Yellow showed areas under immediate threat. Blue indicated safe zones, for now. The Vornak are setting up their defensive. Line here. She pointed to a star cluster. The Zanari will join them. We need to coordinate our fleet with theirs. The aliens trust us now? Someone asked. They don't have a choice, Gordon replied. We're all they have. And they're all we have. Captain Kim returned to Earth with footage that would change everything. The security recordings from Nexus Prime showed not just the horror of the Devourers, but their method. They consumed in patterns, methodically stripping each system before moving to the next. They're not mindless predators, Kim reported. They're organized, strategic. They leave nothing behind because they don't need to return. They're not hunting, they're harvesting. And we're next. The data confirmed humanity's worst projections. The first wave of Devourers would reach the defensive line in 30 days. The main swarm would arrive 15 days later. If the defensive line fell, Earth would be consumed within the month. Walsh addressed the assembled council one final time before departing for the battle lines. We are not fighting for council space or human space. We are fighting for all life in this galaxy. Whether your species mocked my warnings or heeded them, you are now my ally. Together, we will show these cosmic predators that the Milky Way is not their feeding ground. It is our home. The unified fleet assembled at the edge of known space. Human ships flew alongside Zanari dreadnoughts. Vornak energy constructs mixed with Krillian swarm fighters. For the first time in galactic history, over 300 species prepared to fight as one. The Devourers were coming. Their hunger, endless. Their numbers vast. But now, instead of finding scattered prey, they would face united predators ready to protect their territory. Admiral Sarah Mitchell stood at the Battle Command Center, surrounded by holographic displays showing the combined fleet. Human ships mixed with alien vessels, 300 species united against a common enemy. The biggest military force in galactic history waited for contact. Contact in 3 minutes, announced Lieutenant Dan Cooper. His voice carried through the tense silence. Mitchell studied the formation. Human quantum torpedo ships positioned at the front. Zanari energy shields protecting the flanks. Vornak energy weapons ready for long-range attack. Species that once competed now fought as brothers. Remember the plan, Mitchell broadcast to all ships. Hit fast and hard, don't let them feed. If they grab any ship, the whole fleet fires to free them. The waiting ended suddenly. Sensors screamed warnings as massive dark shapes appeared from the void. The Devourers came not as individuals but as a swarm. Thousands poured into normal space like ink spreading through water. All ships engage, Mitchell ordered. The battle exploded with light and energy. Human quantum torpedoes struck first, disrupting the Devourers' neural systems. Massive creatures writhed in pain as their bodies lost control. Vornak energy beams followed, cutting deep into organic flesh. Target the feeding tendrils, Captain Ryan Parker shouted from the Defender. His ship danced between giant beings, weapons blazing. Each hit mattered. Each shot saved lives. But the Devourers adapted quickly. Their bodies shifted, growing thicker armor where weapons struck. They charged forward through the fire, forcing the fleet to scatter. They're learning our tactics, warned a Zanari commander. Shields down to 60%. The Krillians released their swarm fighters. Tiny ships controlled by hive minds. Thousands attacked like angry wasps, too small and fast for the Devourers to catch easily. They targeted joints and weak spots, drawing dark blood into space. Mitchell watched the battle data flow across her screens. Human ships took heavy damage, but held position. Alien vessels fought with courage she'd never expected to see. The United Galaxy proved stronger than individual species ever could be. The infection weapon, she called to Dr. Hayes. Deploy it now. Special human ships launched canisters filled with the viral organism discovered on the wounded Devourer. The infection spread quickly, turning healthy Devourers into carriers of their own destruction. The creatures panicked, splitting their formation to avoid infection. It's working, cheered Cooper. Look at them scatter. But victory carried a terrible cost. Ships vanished as massive tendrils caught them. Entire crews disappeared, their final screams lost in the void. The Thicks reported 20% casualties. The Horak fleet lost half its fighters. As the first wave of Devourers retreated, badly damaged but alive, Mitchell faced hard truth. Damage report. All ships. The numbers shocked even her hardened crew. 40% fleet casualties. 5 colonies lost while the fleet fought here. Billions of evacuated refugees still searching for safety. And this was just their advance guard, whispered Garcia, Mitchell's second in command. The main swarm follows behind, 10 times larger. Mitchell broadcast to surviving ships. Today we proved we can fight them. They bleed. They can be hurt. But the war has just begun. She opened a private channel to Earth. We won this battle, but we need more. More ships, more weapons, more time. The warning came too late for some, but we still fight for others. While the fleet regrouped, Earth continued producing weapons at impossible speeds. Colonies fortified their defenses. Species that once feared each other now shared technology freely. The Vornak taught energy manipulation. The Zanari shared advanced engineering. The Krillians offered swarm tactics. What's our strategy? Walsh asked from the council gathering. We keep fighting, Mitchell replied. We adapt faster than they do. We protect as many as we can, and we never surrender our home. The battle had proved something crucial. The Devourers could be beaten. Not easily, not without sacrifice, but victory was possible. The galaxy now faced its future with eyes wide open. Stars still died in the distance as the main Devourer swarm approached. But now, instead of helpless prey, they faced organized resistance. The youngest species in the council had shown others how to prepare, how to fight, how to survive. Mitchell looked at the star map showing both losses and defensive positions. Red zones marked consumed areas. Blue showed where they would make their next stand. Between them, yellow warning zones displayed civilian evacuation routes. Too late for some, she murmured to her crew. But not for us, not for our galaxy. We fight. And across countless systems, beings of all shapes and sizes prepared for the longer war ahead, finally understanding that unity offered their only hope of survival.